Welcome to Halloween Redux on the K-Files. Today we are investigating the evil Mrs. Paddock and her very hungry snake in Die Hand die Verletzt. It's German. Welcome back to the spooky lush basement office, the SLBO, I guess. It's Halloween Redux here at the K-Files in Hollywood Redux, and we're celebrating with the spookiest episodes. Today, Die Hand die Verletzt. I don't know why I keep saying it like that, I'm sorry. I'm your host, Katie. This is my friend here who hangs out with me for an hour a few times a month.
Hey guys, I'm your co-host, Grisalia, and we're coming at you from HollywoodRedux.com.
Yeah.
It's great, Katie.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for saving the day. All right, so we're talking about Die Hand die Verletzt, which is German for The Hand That Wounds. It's a second season, number 14, I believe. It was the first episode ever directed by Mr. Kim Manners, the king, the sultan. It was a fluke. He wasn't even supposed to get the job. Somebody else was supposed to write the episode, and then that fell through, and so he was hired.
Can you imagine the X-Files without Kim Manners?
That's what I'm saying. The rest, of course, is faded history, where he directed every single one of the scariest Monster of the Week episodes of the show. We're proving it, because I think last episode was a Kim Manners.
Yes.
I think if you chart the K-Files, you'll find Kim Manners is a heavy presence, because he's the best. And he directs this episode very scary. It's super dark. And even kind of different from previous dark episodes,
That's true.
too. He finds new creepy ways to film things. Like, I was noting that, when toward the end of the episode, when they're suggesting that they should just pin the syndicate, like, little board of teachers who's behind the whole thing that's happening, when they're talking about pinning everything on Shannon, on the girl, and her dad just turns and looks at them in the darkness and the light, and just has this look on his face and walks away.
Right.
And it's such a cool shot, and it's so scary, and it says it all, and no one even speaks. They're just talking about, like, yeah, we'll put it on her, and we'll do this, and we'll do that, and the guy just looks at them like, I gotta go. So great.
Yeah, the X-Files really knows how to make you very uncomfortable when it comes to watching certain scenes in their episodes, especially the part where they have to dissect, because it is like a biology class. So that was very, very fun to watch.
Yep, you know what that means.
Especially fun to watch Katie watch that episode, by the way.
Oof, I was
blast.
that girl who had to run away hysterically screaming from dissecting various animal fetuses in biology. That I lived that. Whew, not quite that, luckily. But anyway, I think you've led us to this. We're giving out these Squeeze Awards all month long.
Is there any way I can get off my fingers quickly without betraying my cool exterior?
We're looking at the grossest, most disgusting things that happen in the X-Files, of which there are many. We always say the skin shower is the king, but I'm talking about also like the pustules and F. emasculata, the worm in ice. I mean, the grossest like things that crawl and slither and haunt toilets and wait for you in the shadows of the X-Files special
toilets?
world. I mean, remember the Fluke Man came out of the toilet?
Yeah, I totally forgot about it, there was a reason why I forgot about it.
Yeah, and then later there's a thing with a toilet in the later seasons. There's an episode called Bad Law. Let's not even speak of it. But the point is, there's some gross ones in this episode. The pig fetuses rank pretty high on that list for me. They're very discomfort. There's a lot of discomfort for me to watch that.
The least grossest for sure, but the funniest one for me was the frog at the very end of the screen, where it's pretty much like Mulder and Scully are outside with their umbrellas and it starts raining frogs. There's one frog in particular that didn't make the cut.
Rest in peace, buddy.
Just was plop dead.
I think we should probably add him to the like mortuary for animals on
Rest
the
in
X-Files.
peace, man.
Like put him there with Queequeg and
Sorry, I had to.
forever in our hearts. I mean, there's like kind of like a small pet cemetery for the X-Files. Filed under P for Pet Cemetery.
For Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
But that was definitely like the least grossest, most funniest to me.
Well, the early part of the episode is actually very funny, I think. That moment is really great with Scully holding the umbrella with that great look on her face. She just looks like a 1930s like
I couldn't
dame
tell if she was like
days.
genuinely disgusted by all the frogs, like, like falling, or if that was just like, because I mean, you really don't want frogs falling. But yeah, that was
that was the first time it happened to her. I wish I could say it was the last, but it's not
Never
at
is.
all. No.
Never is.
I feel like later on, as like more and more things fall on her from the sky that shouldn't, she just is sort of more and more blasé about it until finally she's like, I used to be surprised, but remember when those frogs and I used to be surprised? Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, that's all gone now.
My youth.
I did have, though, the most uncomfortable experience watching this episode, which was the freaking snake at the very end coming down the stairs and just wrangling the dude to his death.
Yeah.
Which I was reading that I don't know the actor's name at the very moment, but he was genuinely terrified of the snake itself. So the makeup team did not have to come in and give him sweat or anything because that was all real, you guys.
Yep.
See, terrifying. Terrifying.
Very
Kudos
scary.
to you, man. I would have just walked away.
Yeah. Yeah, that snake's pretty gross. Big old snake skin that
Yeah,
Boulder picks
dude,
up.
are you kidding me?
Gnarly.
And it's open its mouth and it's no, never mind. I'm not gonna go
Yeah,
down
plus
that
we
path.
got pig fetuses, we got pig fetuses plus suicide. Oof, that was gruesome. That even just the story that that Shannon tells, that I guess it's trumped up story. It kind of wasn't clear to me. Seems like it was just a misunderstanding that none of that actually happened, sort of, because
It was very misleading for sure.
the group did not want to do any of that stuff anymore, and that's why Satan had to come. That's why the devil came in the form of Mrs. Paddock, basically.
Dude, the missus was terrifying. I love though when she summoned the snake and then it doesn't matter what you summoned or what she summoned, it was always like in her eyes you can tell who she was possessing, and the snake was like the coolest reveal.
Very cool performance from that actor, that guest actor. I love her eyes. She looks so serpentine. She belongs in the Harry Potter world. I
can see that.
And in Slytherin house for sure. And, maybe head at the Slytherin house. And I think that it's a really cool episode for that reason, because she is so real. Her evil is so real, that actor, that you do very much fear just her standing there.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I love Scully and Mulder, and they're always great in every episode, but this episode goes down to her. I mean, she overpowered, in my opinion. Like, oh, she was so great. I loved her as pretty much Satan. She was fantastic. Fantastic.
Mrs. Paddock. Yeah, and that's a fun story, actually. That is a reference to Macbeth, the Shakespeare play. In the beginning of Macbeth, there's a toad demon who calls the witches away, and that's Paddock. So that's
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the X-Files is full of references. The writers did a lot of that stuff. And actually, this is Morgan and Wong, so they always put lots of good stuff in their episodes. They
always have fun. Always.
Lots of layers that you
lots
can
of treats in the episode,
glean.
for sure.
Fun stuff. All right, what else? Any final thoughts?
I think we got all pretty much the disgusting and gross out of the way. I think.
I was grossed out.
Those 3 or 4 were pretty much the top notch in this episode for sure.
I hate to watch a lot of it.
It was great watching Katie seeing those. It was fun.
All right, let's close the file on Dan Verletzt. I don't know. I'm sorry. I keep pronouncing it like Dr. Strangelove. That's my German. Thank you. That's the K-Files. We're doing spooky episodes all month long, so stay with us through October. Halloween Redux is happening here at the site on all of our other podcasts as well, The Writer's Room, Infinite Grenade Launcher. And we're doing giveaways. There are surprises, shorts. Stay tuned. Subscribe below. I'm your host, Katie. You can find me at KMoles on social medias.
And I'm your co-host, Chrysalia. You can find me at Chrysalia on all social medias. And for those listening, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Watch all of this.
Yeah, anybody on the that's listening on the iTunes via the podcast, check us out on the YouTube, and you can actually look at us sitting
and see what we look like for once.
in our very spooky.
We can't say the same for you guys.
Spooky, scary Lush Basement office.
We still love you guys.
There you go. The truth is already here. Watch the video next door.
Comment, like, click the video right next to Katie. Subscribe, guys.